What if you could learn a single principle drawn from the heart of psychology that would make a manipulative person's influence over you vanish for good? I'm going to show you that principle today, and the surprising reason, it's not about fighting back. A narcissist's world is a grand performance, a play staged to keep your eyes fixed on the dazzling lights, the dramatic speeches, the cleverly written roles. They want your focus on the flattery, the sudden anger, the intricate web of control. But if you get hypnotized by the show, you completely miss the hidden engine driving it all. Behind that curtain lies something far more potent, the shadow. To truly disarm this dynamic, you must learn to look past the costume and study the raw, hidden force that fuels everything. This principle engages the source, not the spectacle, demands immense courage and self-discipline. But it creates a shift that makes you untouchable in a way their drama never can. Because the performance is always designed for one thing, to distract you from the truth they can't face. When a narcissist raises their voice, the real message is, look at my strength. When they shower you with excessive praise, they are saying, look how uniquely I can make you feel. When they twist your words or project their own flaws onto you, the underlying plea is, look at your mistakes, so you don't see mine. The stage is vibrant, emotional, and expertly designed to pull you into a reaction. The shadow, by contrast, is utterly silent. It is the reservoir of deep insecurity, the terror of being exposed, the shame and the unhealed wounds they refuse to confront. The shadow whispers what the performance screams to hide.
If you learn to hear that whisper beneath the noise, you will stop being spellbound by the drama and start seeing the fragile core it conceals. Engaging the source does not mean attacking them with their own insecurities.
Shouting, I know you're weak inside, only fuels more theater. Engaging the source means first shifting your own perception. It means holding on to the unshakable knowledge that their loudness is a mask for fear, their control is a disguise for profound weakness, their superiority is a performance to hide a deep emptiness. When you anchor yourself in this truth, you withdraw the one thing their entire production relies on, your emotional investment in their storyline. Without your energetic participation, their tactics lose all power. The show grinds to a halt when the audience refuses to applaud. This principle also turns inward. Every person carries a shadow, not just those with narcissistic traits. If you find yourself entangled with a manipulator, you must ask what within you responds so powerfully to their performance.
Do you feel a compelling need to defend yourself against their accusations? Do you secretly long for their approval when they offer a crumb of praise? Do you fear being abandoned when they threaten to leave?
These powerful reactions originate from your own unexamined shadow. To engage theirs, you must first engage your own. Otherwise, you remain a willing actor in the script they are directing. Your shadow and theirs will keep replaying the same tired cycle until one of you chooses to exit the stage. Engaging the source is a disciplined practice of quiet observation. Imagine watching a violent storm from the safety of a strong glass shelter. The wind howls, the rain lashes, the lightning flashes, but you are inside, secure and unmoved. The storm is their performance. The shelter is your conscious awareness. When you choose not to run outside and shout back at the clouds, you demonstrate a strength they cannot comprehend. This unsettles them profoundly, because their entire play only works if you stand in the downpour and scream at the sky. The moment you stop letting the external weather dictate your inner state, you see the storm for what it truly is: temporary, noisy, and completely powerless against the sanctuary you have built within, there is also immense psychological power in refusing to battle on their chosen turf. The narcissist expects a confrontation on their terms. Loud debates, emotional chaos, a fight for dominance. But if you shift the entire terrain to the source, meaning you focus only on the silent truths beneath the surface, the rules of the game change completely. When they hurl accusations, you respond with calm, probing questions. When they inflate their ego, you remain neutral. When they rage, you breathe slowly and simply wait. When they bait you, you do not bite. Each of these responses is a confrontation, not of the actor, but of the unspoken terror behind the act. They feel this shift intuitively, even if they can't articulate it. It frightens them because it exposes their weakness without you ever needing to say a word. To truly apply this, you must learn to separate the human from the projection. The performance is pure projection. They assign you roles: the villain, the admirer, the servant, the rival. If you accept the part, their projection becomes your reality. But the shadow is what they truly dread. The fear that others will finally see the emptiness behind the mask. Engaging the source means declining the role, refusing to live inside the identity they have crafted for you. You respond as your authentic self, not as the character written into their play. This act of self-ownership is deeply unsettling to someone who survives by scripting the lives of others. Your simple refusal to perform is the quietest, most powerful confrontation possible. The common mistake is trying to defeat the narcissist at their own game, trying to out-argue, outsmart, or outperform them in the theater. But the stage is their home turf. They have rehearsed every line and scene. You will always lose if you stay on their set. But the shadow, that is the one place they cannot go consciously. They avoid it, deny it, bury it. If you direct your awareness there, not by attacking, but by simply refusing to be swayed, you are standing on ground they cannot tolerate. That fundamental difference alone alters the power dynamic permanently. This approach demands profound patience. There is no instant gratification, no clear, immediate victory. In fact, the narcissist will likely intensify their performance initially, desperate to pull you back into the drama. But your consistency creates a new pattern. Every attempt to provoke you ends in silence, neutrality, or a calm, measured consequence. Over time, they come to a devastating realization: the show no longer works. And once the performance fails, they are left utterly alone with their shadow, the very thing they fear most. Thus, the most effective way to stop being controlled is not to fight harder or play smarter, but to see more deeply, to engage the source, not the spectacle, is to recognize the true root of their behavior and to consciously decline the invitation to join their fabricated reality. This is not an act of meanness. It is an act of profound clarity. It is choosing to remain outside the theater, to observe without reacting, and to let the performance end on its own when the audience has all gone home. The concept of power is often misunderstood. Many believe it is about domination, the ability to control others, to shape circumstances to one's will, or to win in conflicts of ego. But genuine power does not start in the external world. It begins within, in the profound process of becoming whole. Individuation, the journey of integrating the fragmented parts of the self into a coherent, authentic being, is the ultimate source of power a person can ever access. This is the power that cannot be taken, manipulated, or reduced by anyone else's games. It is a power that resides in stillness, expands in awareness, and shines through simple presence. Individuation is the slow unfolding of your true self from beneath the masks of conditioning, fear, and societal expectation. Everyone grows up wearing roles assigned to them. The child, the student, the professional, the partner. These roles have value, but they are not the sum of who you are. When life becomes merely a performance of these masks, you remain vulnerable to the judgment, manipulation, or approval of others. Your sense of identity shifts with every changing wind of external validation. But when you start the work of individuation, you gently peel back those masks and discover the inner foundation that is not dependent on applause or acceptance. That inner ground is where authentic power lives. A narcissist, for instance, thrives on people who have not individuated. If you are still tied to a desperate need for constant approval, you can be easily flattered. If you are still governed by a fear of rejection, you can be easily controlled. If you have not acknowledged your own shadow, you can be easily shamed. But the individuated person stands on different ground. They know their worth is not up for debate. They have faced their shadow enough to hold it without panic. They understand their unique individuality and their shared humanity simultaneously. Such a person is no longer a pawn on another's chessboard. This is why individuation is power. It breaks the chains of external control and establishes true sovereignty over one's own life. The process itself is challenging. It requires looking honestly at the contradictions within you. The part that desires safety and the part that craves freedom. The part that longs for connection and the part that fears intimacy. The part that seeks success and the part that resents the pressure. These internal tensions are not problems to be eliminated. They are materials to be integrated. Individuation means holding opposites without collapsing into either extreme. It means allowing complexity to exist inside you without rejecting what feels uncomfortable. In doing this, you stop being at war with yourself and you stop being so easily divided by others. An integrated self cannot be manipulated into self-betrayal as easily as a fractured one. Consider how many conflicts with narcissistic personalities are battles of reflection. They project their insecurity onto you, and if you have not met your own insecurity, you react defensively, perfectly playing into their hands. They project guilt, and if you secretly carry unexamined guilt, you crumble under the weight of their accusation. But individuation teaches you to recognize what is truly yours and what is not. You acknowledge your real imperfections without shame, and you reject projections that do not align with your truth. This clear separation of self from other is a profound act of power. It means you are no longer available as a blank screen for their inner chaos. Individuation also redefines success. Instead of chasing endless external markers, status, admiration, material proof, you begin to measure success by your alignment with personal values and the depth of your inner peace. This shift makes you far less vulnerable to manipulation. A person who measures their worth by the applause of others can be easily controlled by the withholding or granting of attention. But a person who measures their worth by their authenticity cannot be bribed with flattery or crushed by rejection. The narcissist's entire economy collapses in the presence of an individuated being because their currency, attention, validation, emotional reaction holds no value to someone who has already cashed out of that system. The journey of individuation is also the journey of embracing the unconscious. Much of who we